Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to this Born Digital podcast by Altizen. I am Vinay Nathan, co founder and CEO of Altizen. The Born Digital podcast is about us sharing experiential journeys around digital transformation that we have had the privilege to be a part of and getting practitioners, in particular the management, to get talking about their experience with digital. Today, we have with us the Suhana Group, which is among the pioneering food product companies globally. Suhana has over 180 food products from spices to ready to cook in instant mixes and has blazed a trail with the sheer diversity of products that they bring to play. Their products are available globally in about 25 countries, and today their distribution footprint is actually well over 1,000 distributors and around 220,000 retail food outlets. So a phenomenal success story, which began with very humble origins in 1962, and over the years has been handled in a very dynamic way from generation to generation. Representing Suhana today with us is Mr. Anand Chodia, who is the Director of Technology and Innovations at Suhana. They also have a very popular, known very popular under the Praveen Masalewale brand name. Anand is a very vibrant personality who has pioneered the concept of food quality and really building plants with a completely new perspective. He's very passionate about food technology and serves on as a chair on MCCIA's food committee. And through the course of his work, he embodies what the modern uh, food technology vision is in terms of building sustainable plants, sustainable supply chains, and sustainable agricultural efforts as well. So it's fabulous to have Anand with us on this podcast. Incidentally, just as of a week ago, he has been named among the top 100 influential personalities by University of Auckland globally for 2020. So Anand, thank you for joining us and great to have you on this.
Thank you so much, Vinay, and it's my pleasure also, and happy to share. It's my first podcast, so looking forward for a fruitful, enriching interaction with you.
Fabulous. I'm sure all of us are looking forward, and I assure you this is going to be as a learning experience as much for everybody who's listening in. So, Anu, when we were talking through the areas to cover for today, I think the food industry in particular is actively looking at ways in which they can embody, embrace digital. And you have been somebody who's been on the forefront of building the next generation of factories in this area, in looking at technology, not just for technology's sake, but from so many aspects around the impact it has on everything from culture to execution of operations to sustainability, right? So let's begin from that. If you may, just starting off with Suhana's corporate philosophy and how you have looked at your role and the role of digital around it.
Um, so, if you ask me about the corporate philosophy, the first thing first is uh, making sure that the customer is served well and is satisfied. So we are all determined and focused towards that one goal which we want to achieve, and to make it happen more efficiently, more quickly. Whatever steps needed are the steps which will give us a quick direction, and we are company which is highly flexible and dedicated to make it happen. Digitalization definitely has been the most important aspect of that journey to make things happen as a corporate functioning more efficient. It is not actually about only the factories or the front end, which I will say where the digitalization is playing vital role today. Rather, for a country like India, sourcing from farmers and the database which uh, we call our nation Sheti Pradhan Desh, which is driven by farming, by farmers. Our country is driven by that. And our major economy is also farm driven economy. But you can still see that there is so much more to happen in terms of digitalization. So the idea has struck to my mind that we need to work from my purchase point. So from the farm to fork, entire digitalization approach we wanted to create. And of course, it has actually started around 15 years back by bringing in a customized, fully customized ERP solution and ERP driven organization. And I think that point of time, we were one of the first food industry in India to have fully customized ERP solution. And then on the journey of kept getting more and more engraved and impact and use and benefits of digitalization we realized at early times. And I think that is also one very important aspect, and I would say a change maker for Suhana, that we were not shy as a family business to adopt digitalization, which also you will see in many family business. Things like, no, it's okay what we are doing for so many years since 62. Our group is formed in 1962 with the humble beginnings of making 5 kg masala a day. And today we make that same masala which we initiated. That masala we make today more than 30,000 kg a day, so 30 ton, and more than 150 ton everyday spice mixes we make. Correct. But in that entire journey, if you ask me that what we really looked into as our core values of as a corporate, that we were very much adaptive to the new changes. Not only that, we were looking forward to bring newer and newer version of ourselves. And for that matter, the digitalization, again, I'm saying, played a vital role. Now, when we come to uh, procurement, raw material storage, and processing and sales, it's all about numbers. And where I have seen Indian food industry has been uh, not very strong at, or there has been a lot of new area of improvement which I saw there, and that was about dealing with numbers. Not only acquiring numbers, but actually after getting the right numbers, finding out a meaningful extract from the analysis done. Correct. And that's where AI or this whole entire concept of technology revolution 4.0, which has been in my mind for last 3 years, that a big transformation and a reform I could bring in our business is by adopting those principles. And uh, I would say, with my experience, to have great technology 15 years back, 16 years back, when I had just joined business, was very expensive. It was not so easy. It was not always available in India. It was available with very few multinationals, and so they would excel in many things because they had the right numbers with them, right stats with them. But now, it, rather, the biggest strength India has today is the availability of technology, of digitization, automation, robotics at a very great value. And so we have adopted this largely in our organization in various ways. For example, small thing like there in food processing industry, your major investment is in your material. There is a lot of mass movement basically. So my raw material stocks, my processing, and then I have to calculate the weight losses happens or any excess weight is getting packed in the product. And all that we have now been able to uh, control, assess day and night through great sensor technologies and through conveyor systems. So if a unit operation is getting converted to continuous operation instead of a batch operation. A lot of technology advancement, lot of sensors can be used, and they are giving us just amazing results. And as I said, it's affordable. So I urge a lot to food and agri industries equally to definitely look forward to bring in a lot of these sensor driven, AI driven technology tools, which will give us meaningful numbers and meaningful extract out of the numbers. What happens out of that? The main function of the board or decision maker in organization is actually to make crucial key decisions, and that has helped me as director technology and innovation of this group to make great decisions in the smallest number of time or efforts, because then the numbers are so clear and it's no brainer to make the decision.
Right.
But if it is more about deliberation and discussion and what if and how it will happen, then no, with numbers, right numbers you have in hand, great decisions can happen.
So fabulous. Kind of, we covered a lot of ground
Thanks.
on that point, right? So one of the things that stood out even when we were working with your group is you mentioned about numbers and the intent to focus on benchmarks and and then drive change through that.
Yeah.
And we saw a great impact of that when we were working. Your team was able to drive productivity up significantly when through the work that we did, right? So could you probably share a few instances around
Yeah,
where you
just
see?
one quick one, and which
Yeah.
is the very impactful, very recent work. In fact, I believe when we did that uh, a couple of months back, we
Yes.
did that exercise of productivity in our mixing area,
Right.
where we blend spices, and our average batches a day were around 90 batches, and those batches we were able to optimize from the data which your technology sensors gave us. And again, it was a great number game, and we got the right numbers in, and we realized there is ideal machine time, and then there is an ideal people time. And if we use this time in the same amount of shifts, how much more we can produce. And I'm very happy to share that my team was so enthusiastic about it, and so was the inputs we were getting from your team. We are able to now do from 90 to 140 to 150 batches same time.
Happens.
So that's the
Quantum jump.
and yeah, we let's say quantum jump, and to me it's a disruption in manufacturing. And I feel with these technologies we can disrupt, and suddenly we can have a great strength as a large scale manufacturers to compete in the global market.
Very true, very true. And I mean, it echoes a lot of our philosophy as well, right? You can, it is important to disrupt and look at things in new ways. And what has been phenomenal about how Suhana looks at it is the receptiveness towards this new set of ideas and trying to try and experiment,
Yeah.
see the impact, and then there is a lot to scale from there too, right? It's just
Yeah.
the starting point. So so yes, so then you've had success. There have been different ways in which you've adopted technology over the years and over the generations, and now industry 4.0 and related digital technologies were things that are exciting to you right now, and you found some initial success in terms of drawing this. So how do you think this can help you moving forward, and maybe even look at it from the industry perspective, right? Can this double the productivity of the industry in a short duration, right? Or what kind of disruption do you think this can make happen?
So with yeah, so I have some views, Vinay, on this.
Sure.
That this will actually also largely help the Indian food engineering equipment manufacturers.
Okay.
So there is a lot of space of improvisation if these things are very efficiently offered by them to food industry, will also make a very big impact in terms of, like, we buy new automobile vehicles, and how they keep getting more and more evolved with their new generations. And then whether it is about carbon emission, whether it is about torque, whether it is about the average
Mhm.
horsepower, and now suddenly the e-vehicle is happening. So I think there is a lot of application which I urge all my food equipment, food engineering companies who are based in India to look into such sort of upgradation in their offerings. So we are a company who is too keen, too curious, and too fast about upgrading ourselves, and that's why we put all these solutions on their machines at our end, and we achieve the results by hook or crook. But yes, they also can definitely look at. So that's one very big um, work can happen. Another important uh, work which can happen is on the front end. That is the digitization of sales and marketing,
Right. Correct.
and getting the right data from the customers in. And you know, Vinay, that there is a lot more. The market is evolving very rapidly on e-commerce and digital platform. So getting right numbers, right stats, and right data from that can be even more easier and more effective to decide where to place the products, which product category to place in which market, and all that decision will be made only on basis of data and nothing else.
Correct.
There is no guess which one can do that, what can be sold well in which market on digital portfolio. So I'm looking at very aggressive um, adoption of technology on that front as well. As you asked about how it will disrupt, I personally feel that it has already disrupted by what things we also have been doing,
Mhm.
and what new technology we are getting in terms of quality assurance. Now there is a gap, and there is a uh, area of uncertainty about raw materials, agricultural commodities which are being produced are not very standardized in India. So where technology and automation and whole 4.0 can play extremely vital role is, first is on the statistics of production of raw materials in different areas of country. The one big analysis
Correct.
and area of uh, need coming there. And then, as I said, what kind of quality coming. For example, I'll tell you, so which month from which market the best quality arrives, can we start digging out or tracking with data, with
Mhm.
some statistics, will allow a player like me to decide which market my team should be there, where I should invest highest amount of bucks on raw material, and things like that. Coming in within the factory premise, I will I will be glad to share that I am seeing again disruption in, actually, because most of the operations are getting conveyorized, and we can have uh, uh, camera or a video scanner kind
Mhm.
of a technology uh, through which some imaging is happening, and the machine and the AI connected to that automatically sorts the bad food products from the good ones, and only good comes in the.
Correct.
So this is a good mix of a mechanical, electrical, and digital technology.
Mhm.
And I think most of the application in food industry will be like that if you're
Correct.
talking about production. So that's something very big, and big disruption is expected at that front.
Absolutely. So great. So we, in a sense, connecting back, you spoke earlier about farm to fork.
Yeah.
In a sense, the impact is from farm to fork
Yes.
when we talk of something like this, which is, obviously going to have a huge change on so many aspects of how we look at the supply chain. So now, kind of looking at the people side of the equation a little bit, right? And I was thinking out loud as you were responding about this, and you mentioned about the state of Indian
Food industry.
food industry around these things, right? So um, with the technology being democratized, right, truly well, and then even the language barrier by and large gone, right, because all of these are available in local languages. The phones are available, smartphones are available. There's so much that can happen from farm to fork in this particular sector. um, how how is this being driven down by industry bodies and these types of things? If I may just ask, right, there is so much know-how that perhaps some of you early adopters and some of the pioneers like you are have led the way, right?
Yeah.
And so, how are the next set of people catching up, and how can they benefit from it?
So the spectrum or the bandwidth of food industry, SME, MSME, then large scale, it's too vast in India.
Right.
In fact, today only some Sukshma Khadya Udyog, some Yojana has been announced, and it is meant for a very small food entrepreneur, manufacturer, or there are many self-help groups producing some sort of food. So if you ask me, it's too wide that everywhere something like this will get percolated. No, but definitely yes. All the SMEs and MSMEs, I think I see that there is a vast uh, demand, and also the next generation food entrepreneur, agri entrepreneur are totally ready to accept and embrace the digitalization change. Because you see, you tell me one thing, directly or indirectly, everyone, may it be a child or a elderly person, senior citizen, their life has been highly influenced by digital technology. It's may be smartphone or whatever. So if you ask me, the thinking process has started to accept the change, and same way the consumers will expect things to happen. So there is no option, and I think it won't be hard for young Indians to really accept and go move ahead aggressively on adopting technology. And as I told you, we are conscious about spending. All Indians very conscious about spending. They're picky, choosy, and I said that technology now is easily accessible. It's in its simplified format available for people, and it is not expensive. So there is a huge growth prospect in India for digitization now. You can also see government or many, including our passport office. So much of digitization has happened everywhere, and everyone is going through it now.
Correct. So the one of the key ingredients to making this work in any organization, even since we're focusing on, like, if we talk of SMEs, MSMEs, and even large, obviously the larger ones too, is the culture of the people within that organization, and the change management that is required around wanting to do additional work, right, and do things in a different way. And what struck us a lot in our work with Suhana is that it was an organization that was primed and always ready and eager to experiment even faster than us at some point, right? So, how did you build that culture? How did it doesn't come naturally, right? So,
I think I still want to complete one more
sure,
point of your last question.
absolutely,
At MCCIA, where I'm chairing the food industry committee, uh, we had event year back or year and a half back for food factories of future.
Mhm.
And that was a event where it was all about all spectrum, wherever this technology 4.0 can bring huge change. May it be a cold storage frozen food industry, may it be a dairy
Mhm.
industry, may it be selecting of a right plot through satellite imaging,
Mhm.
or may it be a horticultural industry or any, and all processes
Mhm.
in food industry, right from the construction of the building up to the marketing, where all digitization can play vital role, or more than just digitization, the whole technology 4.0. We had got different experts and they spoke about it. And why I had done that, this that itself is self-explanatory, that there is a demand getting generated for this to
Mm.
happen. And now coming to your question here,
Mm.
I think we are, as an organization, my grandfather who founded organization, and one of our founding principle is valuing relationship, right from farmers to our uh, or our suppliers to our customers. As we are now third generation in this
Mhm.
organization, and we have same connectivity even today with third generation of our suppliers
Mm.
or third generation of our consumers also.
Mm.
And same is also within the organization, because we live by that principle that we value relationship. We build a lot of trust in our team. We have the whole ideology of working in good teams, and as management, I personally feel a leader is a true leader only when he can build leadership in people. If he's not able to build good leadership in people, then he's not a leader, and we are just building followers who will follow the instructions. So this is what I've been consciously trying to practice. And you must have experienced that as a culture in our organization, that I probably have been part of very initial meeting and not anymore. And then it's been a autopilot mode project moving in a really fast manner. So when I say that bringing leadership is sense of responsibility, and they know that the 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 directors trust them, value them, and respect them, and everyone in the organization, to the point of our laborers or workers, we do the same thing. And that's the reason I think the organization stands out differently. And I'm glad that the feedback comes from industry like you, and sharing the experience about my team. I'm very happy about it.
Fabulous. So, just changing tracks a little bit, and to kind of the something that I know is very critical, very very close to your heart,
Mhm.
right? The whole sustainability initiatives that you have, you have the Eco Factory Foundation. You have so many different ways in which even you've built your factories in a way that they are sustainable. So if I may start at the origins, how did this come to you first? As in, why did this matter to you? What was the genesis of this matters?
So I've shared this multiple times, but I want to share this again today because it's important. And as you said, yes, it's very close to our topic, and because I feel it's very logical. And I always say, if things are logical and if they are eco-friendly, then that's ecological. So you're supposed to be logical if you want to be ecologically
Good one.
friendly. So the work actually started with a simple thought and a vision in mind, that I want to make my industry completely waste free. We generate a lot of waste as food industry, or for that matter, any premise, whether it's a residential office, an IT office, automobile company, or food industry, they do generate some sort of waste. And how to go waste free was an entire big question mark. Because you won't believe, but we generate more than 4,000 metric tons of waste per annum.
Wow.
And in last 4 years journey, 5 years journey, I'm very happy to tell that we had no clue earlier what to do about this. So much of waste we generate. We don't throw a single gram outside our premises now. So
It's all
entire
completely
waste is recycled, refurbished, upcycled, reused, repurposed, etc., and converted to some sort of a wealth. So that's the whole idea struck. And then we met a lot of experts, scientists, NGOs, and we found way out that, okay, wow, this is how we can deal with, let's say, paper waste. Wow, this is how we can deal with metal waste. Oh, wow, this is how we can work on biodegradable waste. And the entire concept came, we learned so much of it. We realized that, okay, we learned excessive, not that all is important for the our model, but there is so much in that which is useful for people in community and society at large. And one of the offshoot of this vision to go waste free campus and make Suhana uh, uh, efficiently waste managed company, the entire concept of Eco Factory Foundation came up with the ideology of giving back to community. And we have actually created India's first waste management park through that. And it's a full 360-degree approach of waste to wealth and waste to health. And one can come and learn all different ways and means to deal with plastic waste, e-waste, biodegradable waste, or any other kind of waste, and how it can be some sort of wealth can be created from it. And so all our factories, we have a waste management policy in place now. And our warehouse, which was my first greenfield project, I'm very happy to share that it has got IGBC platinum rated rating building, and not many food warehouses in India are able to do that. Also, it's run fully on solar power. Not 1 ml of water is going out of the facility, including the entire grey water is recycled. And we have more than 85 different species of flora and fauna there built, which is actually in the very dry and arid region of India. It's in Bhuleshwar near Pune.
Okay.
And we are doing huge piece of organic farming, and we fix lot of waste in the soil efficiently there. So and lot many other things with that we are able to achieve, like a few lakhs of liter of water every year we harvest. And we are helping the underground water resources to get better. And as a result of it, we are seeing in last 7 year of work which we did there, we are seeing that the underground water reservoir levels have come up. So earlier the bore wells which were dry, now we are getting water to the bore wells from this year. So that's a great sign of ecological preservation and protection. And then the idea came that let's keep it open for public to come see, adopt this module in their own industries or workplaces, and make our country clean and green. Because if each and every premise, like you see here, I'm going to take you through, if every premise goes clean and green, that's how ultimately our nation will become clean and green.
Absolutely. So fabulous initiative, and love to not only see this facility but the one in Bhuleshwar at the appropriate moment. So just kind of concluding, weaving through the string of pearls that we've had a chance to discuss, right? This is such a holistic picture. So you've looked at your food technology, just from the digital to sustainable kind of, we covered, and people being at the core of it. We covered, so now just looking forward, what are your dreams? What's next? What is it that you're most excited about?
Okay, so the dream for food industry, Suhana, Praveen, or the feeling I have is we want to definitely make Indian traditional food one of the most prominent and healthy cuisine on global food plate. That's one very close to heart vision I carry for my company, and I'm determined, and I see that happening very soon. Second thing, as you said, yes, the sustainability close to my heart, and that project I think will stay with me forever. I definitely want to make sure that I make our nation and contribute a lot to make our nation clean, green, sustainable, healthy, and prosperous. So that's where I definitely want to work on, and Eco Factory Foundation is 100% determined that they'll make it happen. They'll make it happen for sure. As a very personal view, if you ask me, what I believe in is Sarve Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. That's what I believe in. And a quote by Mahatma Gandhi ji, that be the change you wish to see in the world. I completely believe, and I'm walking on that path. Thank you so much.
That's a fabulous way to conclude this podcast. Anand, thank you so much for joining us. You are the change that is not only an embodiment of fulfilling all the things that you set your eyes on, but as you do that, everybody lands up definitely with a full plate of food on their table. So you're satisfying that
Well
critical need too.
Well
so
said.
thank you so much for joining this
Thank
podcast.
You.
Thanks.
Pleasure.